I'd like to make a motion that the superintendent be instructed to communicate with Dr. Bell and demand that he or a member of his staff capable of answering the questions as previously asked on the original statement of why he was asked here in the first place, to come to a meeting of this board, and that to be a special meeting the 17th of this month. Second.
$150,000 OEO dollars to get a special food program underway in Dallas County has remained idle for more than a year because of DCA political infighting. Today, Dallas County Welfare Director Glynne Coker, Dallas physician Dr. Melvin Morgan, and a target area delegation appeared before commissioners to plead for help in releasing those funds. Dallas commissioners promised to meet with DCA Director Willis Johnson first thing Thursday morning, and who send a resolution to the OEO regional director telling of their displeasure with the goings-on at DCA. I talked with Dr. Morgan and Welfare Director Coker, who told me what he thought the results of the Commission's action would be.
That maybe they better pay a little closer attention to their local setup here in Dallas that would allow disaction, no action, and really negative, just simply damaging to the whole program for such delay over such a long period of time to happen.
Think some heads are going to roll?
I hope some will be cracked together.
There just wouldn't be that much space for us to set up what we call a drying out for the alcoholics. That's a matter that the people will have to help us go to the legislature and resolve, and get Terrell State Hospital, which is one of the finest, expanded, and more help, more doctors, and where we can look after these unfortunate people. Now, we cannot deprive a mentally sick person of a bed to put a person there to what we call dry him out.
Post Office Box 148, Hutchins, Texas. Trustee of the Wilmer-Hutchins Independent School District and Director of the First Baptist Church of Hutchins, private school which is an educational institution that limits enrollment to the members of the white race only.
I just want that understood. That's not right. That's not true.
Well, we feel like that. It'll be hard to make our team this year as a rookie, but of course there's always 6 or 7 boys going to move in on your 47-man squad. That includes your taxi, and I would say it looks like maybe 6 or 7 boys will make it, you know, the squad.
Is your assistance ever sought in trades? Do you think you might use some of these young men for trades?
Oh, there's no question about it. If a boy can't make it with you, naturally, if he has ability, you can trade him rather than cut him, and this is a general thing in the league because other people might not be as deep in one position as you are. So this is what you're always looking forward to.
Has Sid Gilman added a great deal to the Cowboy coaching staff?
Well, he sure has. What he's done, he has such a great knowledge of the American Conference, and this, of course, we can split up the work here in our evaluation or getting things ready for the offense and defense for the scouting report and making our evaluation recommendations for the offense and defense. So it's been a great help.
As the eclipse continues, we will find that this portion of the sun's disk that appears to be removed, that it will slowly change. Now, the ancient Chinese, eclipses have always been a very fearful thing. The ancient Chinese would rush out in their battle dress and their bows and arrows and their spears and hurl spears and shout and holler and beat the drums and everything because they figured that a dragon was eating up the sun. And sure enough, it must have been pretty good dragon medicine because it always quit and the sun came back out, so you can't beat a record of success like that. And so this is, if anybody feels like going out and shooting a bow and arrow right now, I certainly wouldn't keep them from it. But during an eclipse, you know something is happening, and so you force your eye to stay there. So there are the ways to watch it with the unprotected eye is with, the best thing is a number 7 welder's glass.
The council met this morning to hear a preliminary report on the regional public transportation study by the North Central Council of Governments. The city council was told that the population of the Dallas-Fort Worth area will have doubled by 1990, while the use of the automobile will have tripled. But the report said despite this projected increase in car use, indications are there is enough public support to warrant further study of the feasibility of a regional mass transportation system utilizing a high-speed tracked air cushion vehicle. In its regular afternoon session, the council agreed to apply for nearly $8 million in federal money to finance a program of improving substandard housing in East Dallas and Oak Cliff. The city's share of the money was approved by voters in the June bond issue. But another neighborhood improvement program came under fire at today's council meeting, the Can Do program in South Dallas. Representatives of the Pylon Salesmanship Club criticized the lack of black involvement.
There were 44 white contractors on the approved list, all in a program designed to help black contractors primarily.
In response to these charges, the council asked the city manager to investigate the minority hiring practices in connection with the Can Do projects in South Dallas. It also should be mentioned that the city council members apparently are now thinking in terms of mid-December for the next citywide election, an election aimed primarily at submitting city charter revisions to the voters. But Councilman George Allen has indicated that he will ask that a proposal to build an indoor sports arena also be added to that ballot. Jack Hill, Channel 8 News on the Move.
Last year, Mr. Jerry Richmond, formerly of the Fort Worth Chamber of Commerce, along with 2 associates, made independent stopwatch timings of the mentions afforded Fort Worth and the Convention Center on the pageant telecast. They have reported to Mrs. Gazelle of the Miss Teenage America that the results showed 1 minute and 45 seconds of direct mentions and an additional 2 minutes of mentions related to various activities, all of which took place in Tarrant County.
There was also more good news as the court formally lowered the tax rate for the county by 2 cents, as had been prophesied. County Judge Howard Green described exactly the way the process went.
After a combination of the 2 funds with the Road and Bridge Fund of 86 cents, leaving the right-of-way fund tax at 29 cents, the motion by Mr. Anderson, second by Mr. Lewis. All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion unanimously agreed to. This probably marks one of the few counties in the state of Texas that in this year of growth that the tax rate has been decreased, and also, as the auditor has pointed out and others, this is done without a reduction in services, and it seems to me that we should be proud of achieving a real high sense of public responsibility in cutting the tax rate when we have the possibility of doing so.
The court also approved a retention of the 75-cent per $100 evaluation tax rate for the Tarrant County Hospital District. Jerry Taft, Channel 8 News on the Move at the courthouse in Fort Worth.
Well, June, what we're trying to do is a twofold thing. Number one, we're trying to give the teachers substantive law as provided by our morning professors from law school. And then afternoon sessions, we're trying to give the teachers the methodologies and techniques and the inquiry approach to implement the legal concepts into the classroom.
Now, what exactly are the students supposed to get out of an exercise of this sort?
The students, and out of this particular exercise, they can use this as a springboard for a debate, a full debate on an issue. They also get the idea that regardless how they personally feel about an issue, someone else has an opposite view.